Hello, this is Filips from Platsdarm's design company, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you basic animation principles and how they apply to motion graphics. Let's watch this example. This doesn't look realistic. Basically there is a ball or a dot traveling and hitting the wall and then landing on the ground there, and you can see the motion path. It's really simple, really basic, and if you reveal the keyframes, there are just 3 keyframes for each of those positions. And now take a look at another example, the same stage but different animation for the ball. And this looks much more realistic. In this tutorial we will be looking at some of those animations and things that are going on here, and we'll be actually doing this, and we'll be not using the ball, but we'll be breaking them down, 5 separate principles, and I'll show you how to use them with titles, but you can of course use them with logos or other elements. And just a quick note, this is not something new I came up with. It's actually an old thing, and it's called 12 Basic Principles of Animation. They're created by Disney animators. They were published in the book already in 1981, but they come from the beginning of 20th century, so they're quite old. And here you can open up this Wikipedia post and you can read all of them. There are 12 in total, but a lot of them are referring to characters, like human characters or animals or something. But this time we'll be watching how they apply to motion graphics, to title animation, or to different object animation that are not live figures, like people with face and facial expressions, hands, legs, and things like that. So the first one is squash and stretch. When things are moving, they tend to squash and stretch. In our original example, you can see it here that when this ball moves, it gets wider and not as high as it was originally, so it's not perfectly round. And then when it hits the wall, it gets squashed again, and as it falls down, it gets squashed like this, then again hit the ground and goes back to the round figure. So squash and stretch. Also, with this example, the title is coming in, hitting the wall or taking the position, and then keeps squashing and stretching. And actually for this example we have just 2 keyframes and expression that is taking care of this squash and stretch. And the expression is originally taken from motionscript.com, I guess that's it. You can check this post for the details. I added a link there below the logo, below the video, but I slightly improved this code, because originally you would need 2 layers. One that is animating in, and then the other one which is doing this animation. I added a few other lines which tells the script when to start this animation. At the moment it says start it at frame number 8, so you see we're at frame number 8, and then the animation starts. And you can, this script is really good because you can adjust it easily. You can change the amount of those deviations. The moment I change it to 50, and you can see it's moving a lot, or I can change it to just 10 and it's moving just slightly. let's change it to 50 again so we can better see what's going on. Sorry. And then we can change the speed. Let's try to go all the way up to, let's say, 80. And see that's it's like wiggling like jelly. And of course you can bring that down and make it more static. Or make it slower. And again, this depends on your animation. If your animation is slower, and this needs to be started frame 19 instead of frame 8. Now this will look more appropriate. Let's change it back to where we were before. Change speed to 30. And again, the decay, that's the time how long the animation is still going on. We can change this to 1 or 2, and it will be longer. Or we can increase this number, say to 10, and it will stop sooner. There is almost no animation. So where were we? I think we were around 5. 5ish, and that would be optimal for this. This project file, you can download it, search for the link below, and you can download it and explore yourself, and feel free to reuse this script. I got it for free from motionscript.com and customized, and you can keep using it. So that's squash and stretch. One of the things that will make your animation look more realistic. The next one is anticipation. Just like a dancer, before he can jump, he needs to bend his knees and then take off. Also, the thing that is going to animate or going off the screen or something, there is anticipation going on before the actual movement. And let's watch this example. You see the anticipation to the right and then the actual movement. And we'll duplicate this and I'll show you how it would look without it. And without it, it would look really basic, like this. Just animating out in the same speed and no anticipation whatsoever. So this is one way how to prepare your audience for movement that is going to take place. I'm sorry, again, yeah. And give some liveliness to your animation. And you can go one step forward. This time I just animated position parameter. This is where it sits at the moment. Then I move it slightly to the right, and then I move it out. The principle for this is, I'll do it again. Start your start position, and then this anticipation part is usually longer than the actual animation, especially if the animation is fast. And you don't need to move it much, just hold down Shift and click right button once on your keyboard. That will move it just slightly, and then go forward just a few frames and move it out completely. This already looks better, but still the timing is not right. And we'll be talking more about timing and later, but at the moment what we can do to improve this, we can like I did here, I added some easy ease keyframe and this kind of keyframe, and I'll show you where the difference is. If we open up the graph editor for this, which has usual keyframes, you can see that it's really like a square type of animation. It goes there, then it goes there, there, there. If you open the graph editor for this thing, you have to select this, you see that the speed is gradually building up, and then even though it changed direction, still the speed is building up equally and then slowing down and stop. So this is a good thing to know, to create different keyframes. And in the timing session, I'll show you how to achieve those different keyframes. And so there is another example, which is even more advanced. This probably gives some liveliness to the text, and I think I need to move it off the screen properly. So what I did here, I created a mask. The yellow mask, which you can see here, and if you go into the text and path options, you can select mask if you have some mask drawn over your text. And actually I will create this again. Command D and delete the mask and turn off position as well. Just use this for reference. So the starting point, so we don't have any mask, so we can draw a mask. Go to pen tool, make like 3 points, and just hold and drag for the middle point, probably for this one as well. So that's your mask. Now go to text, path options, and change path from none to mask 1. And this will basically make your text sit on your mask, and if you change your mask, your text will change as well. This way you can make your text more lively instead of just having it as a one straight block. And now we'll be animating some things. The first one, position. Create a keyframe here and then move it back slightly and move it off the screen altogether here. Now this does pretty much the same as the original example, but now we will be animating mask path as well. And create a keyframe, then hit U to reveal all keyframes, so that way we can see both mask path and position keyframes. And actually this needs to be here because that's the default mask. We'll be starting from this way. Then probably not here, but look where's the most further point. And actually you might need to change those keyframes before you animate the mask, because they will change the text position gradually. So select your first keyframe and hit F9 to make it Easy Ease keyframe. You can also right click on it and it will be out of screen. Right click on it, keyframe assistant, and Easy Ease. That will turn your usual keyframe into this type of keyframe, which is Easy Ease keyframe, which will slowly build up the speed. And then for this one, just click it, hold down Command or Control on a PC and click on it, and this can stay the usual keyframe. So now look for the frame where your text is has the most left position, and at this point you might animate your mask and make it like it's like a horse standing up and then running off the screen. Again, you can just take the original mask keyframe, copy it, but instead of copying it here, you want it to straighten out pretty soon, maybe even here. So now you have this illusion that it's like stands up and and this letter M is dragging it all out of the screen. So this is the one way of how you can animate your text. If it's not a text that you're animating, if it's just a solid object, you can always use this basic way with small anticipation before the actual animation happens. That will make your animation look more lively. Then to the third principle, which is follow through. And the principle is that when your animation stops, some parts are still moving. For example, imagine a human turning. First thing would be you would turn your head, and then your arms would probably follow, and the head would stop first, and then arms would stop. And in this example, I had a quick text animation where text comes in and then the other letters join. You see the A comes in and the A stops here, but the other letters still continue to move. So you can easily do this with text by animating a tracker of your text. And let's recreate this effect. So we'll turn off everything. So this is usual text. Make sure your anchor point is at the beginning of your text, because if it's in the middle, the animation will happen all around the anchor point. So make sure your text, instead of having anchor point in middle, make sure it's on your left or on your right if animation is happening from left to right. And we'll be doing a quick position animation. Make a keyframe here and move it off the screen. So it just comes in. At the moment, this is just boring text animation. Looks really don't look naturally. Just comes in and stops right away. And we'll be adding an animator. Go to animate, and we'll be animating tracking. Now the animator gets opened, and you can change the tracking amount to whatever you want, probably 25. And then go into the range selector and advanced, change it from square to ramp up, because that will make your first letter stop first and then the last ones follow. And animate your, I'll move this up, animate your offset from -100 here, so all characters are extended. Create a keyframe and then move in time here and go all the way to 100. You can even probably move this over a bit. So I'll hit U to just reveal those keyframes we just created, and this already looks better. But again, you can turn those to easy ease keyframes. F9, F9. It will look even better. So what if you're animating a solid object instead of title? And I created another example here. Well, the truth is I created it with title, but you can do it with some element as well. For example, if you have element that consists of several elements, you can animate them separately. Because what I did here, I took those two dots and animated them separately. They basically does the same. Animate I animated their position, but if I reveal keyframes for all 3 layers, you can see that the dot animation happens later than the main title animation. And this gives an illusion that the title comes in and then the dots join to the animation. Again, a small thing, and a lot of people probably will not even notice this, but when they watch subconsciously, they will understand that this animation somehow looks better and there is something in it which makes it look better. The fourth principle is slow in and out. Again, we'll start by really rough example, which is there is no slow in or no slow out. It stops, then it suddenly starts to move, and suddenly stops again. This is not realistic because it's impossible to just start right away and stop right away. Normally, if something starts, it builds up the speed and keeps the speed and then slows down until it stops. And again, you can do this by creating easy keyframes, F9. And this already looks better, but you can go one step further and adjust this by clicking to Graph Editor and now selecting each keyframe and adjusting this thing. And if you adjust this line, you see we'll slowly build up the speed, then go at the top speed here, and then slowly and gradually slow down again. And this looks like this. Slowly builds up and slowly ends. And of course you can make it to accelerate quicker and then slow down. Or maybe it needs more time to accelerate, but it could break down quite easily. You can change it like this. And again, this all is done with just 2 keyframes for the position. And by creating those easy keyframes and even adjusting them in Graph Editor, you can make a nice smooth animation and make it look more realistic. And the last principle that applies to motion graphics is timing. And originally, the timing meant you need to draw more images at the beginning and at the end of your animation, because we can see in the slow in and out, if we check the motion path, you see every little dot here represents the position in each frame, and you see it travels just a little bit, but there is frame after frame after frame, while here are also just 3 or 4 frames, but it travels fast, much further, or even here. I'll change it to black so you can see the motion path. Sorry. And change it to green maybe. Still hard to see. Well, still. So if you would be drawing this animation, you would take into account that you need a lot of drawings here, and they would be almost the same, just slightly. They would change just slightly, and as it comes here, you just need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more drawings to make half of the animation happens. And the same for the timing. And you can achieve different effects by using this timing. For example, this time the title is falling down and landing on the ground, and in this example it will look like this is really heavy. You see, it starts to fall and then hits the ground and just bounce once. You might think, well, we could just have 2 keyframes, but that would not look realistic, because even the most heavier thing in the world, if it's landing somewhere, it would bounce a little bit. Of course, not as much as some light ball or something, but it would bounce anyway. So this doesn't look realistic. Let's bring back those 2 keyframes, and what it does, they just once it lands, they lift it up slightly again and then puts it back on the place. And also the important thing is how you position those keyframes. So this is the falling animation, and then there are 2 frames for bouncing it up and 1 more frame for landing. If you would add more keyframes, you would gradually make less and less frames between them. Let's say for between first 2 you would have 5 frames, and then you would have 3 frames, then you would have 2 and just 1 frame apart. So yeah, that's important. But ultimately, just use the run preview to see if it looks realistic or not. And here's another example which should look lighter and not as heavy. See, it falls slower because, you know, heavier objects tend to fall quicker because they build up the speed because of the gravity. Lighter objects are falling slower. So if you compare the keyframes, you see that the falling takes place much longer than here. Between those 2, this is much longer. And also the bouncing, there are more bounces and they're more spread apart. And again, you can select those, hold down Alt and adjust this if you want bouncing to happen quicker. But again, use your eyesight to determine whether it looks good or not. Probably this is not the best example because it seems like it bounces up a bit too much. So one of those could be reduced. We'll just keep experimenting until you get it to look right. So once again, let's return to our original example. And you can see in this example, I tried to join all those things that we learned today. Wheel the keyframes, and you see basically I animated just 2 parameters. One is position, one is scale. You see there is anticipation going on. The ball sits here, and then the anticipation goes on, takes place, and then the ball starts to move, and it gets stretched out as well. Then once it hits the wall, it gets squashed, and it bounces off. And not just bounces off in the straight direction, but there are 2 forces affecting the ball. One is the force from hitting the wall, and the other one is gravity. So instead of moving straight back, it moves back and goes down a bit, and then builds up speed and falls down, and again gets squashed and stretched before it stops down. And you see I also use some easy keyframes for it to build up the speed, because again it would look unrealistic if it would start straight away in the full speed. And then I use this type of keyframe, which is just passing through, like the same speed is coming in and going out since the direction is the same. And then I use hard keyframe because it hits the wall and again this type of keyframe because the speed is building up as it bounces against the wall and falls down. And again, probably this easy use keyframe is not so important, but sometimes it can give this tiny realistic feeling. So from this boring animation to this more realistic animation, make sure you download the project file, explore everything yourself, and I hope you will be able to apply this to your motion graphics and make them look more realistic, like they would happen in the real world. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Filips,